And I'm really thankful for ma'am for taking time out today. I'll turn over and I'll hand the coordination over to Vandana ma'am to please speak to the class. Ma'am, this is a class which does not have much of an historic knowledge about the subject of Python, but I can vouch for their motivation and their enthusiasm. I have been teaching them for approximately 3 to 4 weeks now, and I've seen the commitment which they have shown towards the course. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Arjun, for introducing me. And I would like to welcome all of you in this class of Python programming. Uh, Myself, as Arjun has introduced me, I am Dr. Vandana Vasin from Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management. I am an associate professor there, and it's now been 21 years into this kind of employment. I was there working with TCS for 3 years, and in LBS it's now 15 years. And I have been teaching a variety of subjects related to computers because I'm teaching Master of Computer Applications. And the most basic thing that I do when I start with my class, even though they are postgraduate students, I ask them to introduce themselves and explain me what are they expecting out of the course. Since all of you are trying to learn Python programming, I would like to know your background. How much do you know about computers, or probably any programming language that you have understood? So it would be good if one of you could unmute yourself and me, introduce yourself to me so that we can understand each other better, and that would be a better way of
Yes.
learning. So I can do I call you by name? I can see some names over here on the screen. Like Ramesh Kumar is there first on the screen name. I can see that him.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Ramesh. Can you just please introduce me to yourself?
Yes, myself Ramesh Kumar. I am from Gurgaon. I done my BA BEd.
Okay. And
Yes, ma'am.
any computer education?
Basic, ma'am, basic computer knowledge.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Thank you,
I'm Kunal
Ramesh.
Saigal.
Yes, please.
I'm Kunal Saigal. I'm from Hyderabad, and I have completed my electrical engineering. So I have basic. I have done my C++ in my first year,
Yeah,
but
that was how
after
long
that I
back?
have. Yeah, that is what did that in 2011,
Okay.
9 years back.
9 years
So,
back.
but
Long
after
time.
that I did not practice at all. So, though having the knowledge, but I do not remember anything as of now.
Okay. Thank you, Kunal.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
My name is Vandana, ma'am.
Yeah. Tell me.
I'm from Hyderabad, Telangana state, ma'am. Uh, I have done BTech in the year 2003, and I have a bit of computer knowledge, ma'am.
Okay.
And regarding Python, I just know that it is a high-level programming language and nothing more than that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, my name is Tushar Patil. I am from Navi Mumbai, Maharashtra. I am BSc graduate and also I have completed diploma in shipping and logistics. Then after currently I am learning digital marketing. So that is about computer knowledge and I'm
So,
totally
how
unaware
do you
about
think
this
Python
Python.
will help you in like you have done a diploma in shipping and that
No,
sector?
no, shipping is a total different thing. But currently, I am learning digital marketing.
Okay.
So Python will help me with that. That is
O-
why I am learning Python.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Tushar.
Hello everyone.
Hello,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
My name. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, yeah. Usha ma'am, you can start.
Okay. Hi, ma'am. This is Usha here from Delhi, and I have completed my BA and I have done. I'm in B.Ed also, and
Okay.
currently I'm learning digital marketing and thought of
Okay.
giving a hand to this topic also, Python.
Okay.
And that's all, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
My name is Sai. I'm from Hyderabad. I've completed my BCom and CA Inter in 2013.
Okay.
With the initiation of NABED Group, I have been introduced to digital marketing. So I'm doing digital mastering course in NABED India Group. Uh, and when it comes to Python, sir only introduced us Python. At that point of time, little bit I've done YouTube search or something like that. I just know basics of Python programming language. Ma'am. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Uh,
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
I
afternoon.
am Mohammad Muradullah. I am from Telangana. I have done my BTech Computer Science in 2007.
Okay.
So I learned many programming languages as a part of my academics. But
Okay.
it's almost 13 years ago, so I didn't practically used any of them. So
Okay.
I can understand Python syntax. I can adapt to it easily.
Yes, that is true. Shilpa Jain. Shilpa Jain is there? Okay, she's not responding. Vibham Singh.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I'm able to. Good afternoon.
My name is Viham Singh, and I am from Prayagraj, Uttar Pradesh. I have done BSc Mathematics. That's all, ma'am.
That's good. BSc Mathematics is good. So you'll be able to understand a little better than those who do not have a math background.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Vibham. Mukta. Mukta is there? Okay, Mukta is also not responding. Suraya is there? VK Suraya?
Yeah. Good afternoon, madam. Actually, my name is Surya Venkateswaran.
Okay.
I'm from Hosur, Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
I'm a BCom graduate with diploma in computers, madam.
Okay.
Even I will actually have done a lot of courses earlier, but I don't have touch now. But I'm very confident to learn Python, madam.
Python is
Thank you
easy.
so much.
You will be able to grasp. You will find it
Yeah,
much
thank
easier
you.
than other languages. Thank you.
Sure. I'm looking forward to the class, madam. Thank you.
Yeah. Karthik Agarwal is there? Monica Kukreja? Okay, so somebody with the name of Vivek. The name I can see on the screen is Vivek. So would you like to introduce yourself to all of us?
Hello.
Yeah, Monica. Okay, please tell
Yes,
us.
ma'am. Yeah, I'm Monica Kokhera. I'm from Nagpur, Maharashtra, and I have completed my graduation from BBA stream. Actually, I don't have any knowledge about Python. I'm very new to it, but looking forward to learn a lot from that.
Yeah, thank you, Monica.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Anyone left now can introduce themselves?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello. Yes. Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm
Good afternoon.
Jayaprakash. I'm from Delhi, and I have done BTech in computer science. I have a bit of knowledge in Python, uh, just basics. I have
Okay.
done too much in Python.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Looking forward to
Thank
the
you.
session.
Mukta is there. Has she joined? Okay. Still anyone left who would like to introduce themselves? Who would like to share? So let's begin with our session. So all of you, I can see 3 or 4 in the class who are aware of Python programming, but the rest of you, what I feel is you are totally from a background which will need a little bit introduction to certain terms. So I would request all of those who are aware of those terms, so kindly bear with me for 1 or 2 classes so that the others can also come at pace with you, you know. So they will be able to come up to your level when they understand those basic jargons, and then we can definitely move forward for the class. Now, why Python? Why people are asking for Python these days? You know, because first thing, I have been teaching. I have been teaching programming in C. I have been teaching Linux as an operating system. I have been teaching data structures, and C is a programming language which is quite tough. It is even for the good coders to become a C programmer. They find it really tough. And even the industry pays more to such people who are, you know, programming in C. And that if I compare that Python with Python, you know, I find it very simple, very easy to handle, very easy to understand, even if the person does not have any knowledge of any other programming language. So because I have seen Java also, I have seen Java, C++ also. So all these things, you know, help Python become a little bit more easier. Then another thing which I've seen is that these days the one area which is highly picking up is data science. If you have heard of it, data science is the buzzword these days, and if you read the news about the reports about the jobs, there are around 1 crore jobs in this area. And Python is extensively used for, specifically when I talk of this area, data science. There are other languages as well. R is there. Then you have Python, and many more languages are there. But yes, Python is definitely, you know, it is there in the area of big data. It is there in the area of machine learning, deep learning. This is one area of data science that I'm talking of. So in data science itself, once you have a little bit grasp on Python and you have a background of mathematics, you can easily get into data science. It will be very simple, you know, to get into that once you have a grasp of Python. Then Python is not only used in data science, it is used in things like web designing also. Yes, nobody can think of Python being used for web designing, but Python is now overtaking other programming languages for web designing as well. Then it is a great simulation tool. If you see it, it has so many libraries that you can actually use those libraries and get into any area which you want to get into. And the biggest advantage that you get from using Python is that it is open source, meaning I don't have to buy Python. It is readily available to me on the internet. I can download it from there and I can use it. So that is what I mean by open source. There are many programming languages that are open source, but we are trying to focus on Python because once we understand what and how to work in that, many more venues open to it. But then the problem lies with this. Abhi, 3 or 4 of you highlighted, ki, ma'am, I have done this language. I think 2 or 3 of you are BTech in computer science. One of you is in a diploma in computer science. And the problem comes when you are not actually, get into the habit of programming. So what happens is people do what people do is they will just learn the language, they'll learn the syntax, they'll do some programming exercises which the teacher gives, and that's it. But Python is such a thing that the more you practice, I told you I have been teaching so many languages, but I really enjoyed learning Python. I have learned Python very recently. Let me tell you this. Yeah, I got a certificate from edX and in 2018. So I have learned it just 2 years back. But since I had a programming background already with me, so it was quite simple for me, quite easy. And I have also taught it to the MBA section in my college. So the MBA students are also learning Python. So MBA, is Masters in Business Applications, and they are getting into a data science field. So they are also learning Python. So I have taught them also Python. So it's not that I'm teaching you for the first time, but yes, for MCA students, I have done a lot of courses with them, some short-term courses for Python because even they were interested. It was not there in their course curriculum. So Python is actually going very strong in the market, right? So you are all going to be definitely at a more powerful position if you are able to grasp the concepts. But grasping and understanding the syntax is never ever sufficient for a programming language. You need to work onto it. You need to write your own programs. See, and the biggest disadvantage that I will say Python has right now is all the code is available on the net. You name it and you will get all the code available on the net. So if I ask you to submit an exercise to me, then definitely you can copy it from the net and you can submit it. But then that is not going to help you. I can see all of you are quite mature. Students often do it in their lab exercises. They will often deal with the teachers like this only. They'll simply go to the internet, they'll copy the code, they'll run it, and they will use it. Right? So what I would expect from you is that if I'm giving some exercise, I would like all of you to try it on your own rather than simply cutting and copying from the web. Code is going to be definitely available to you because you know what is going to happen when you do it on your own. You're going to make mistakes, and when you commit those mistakes, that is where you will learn. That is where you will learn to handle that language. It is very important that you make those mistakes, right? When you're learning, you should be making maximum mistakes so that your learning goes to the highest level. I don't know how much you agree with me, but what I feel and what I tell my students also, that it's very important that you make mistakes, especially when you're learning a programming language. Very important to do that. Because then you will learn to debug, you will learn to understand what kind of errors are occurring. And when you actually get into a practical project, those things will just be you'll just fly past them very quickly. So my expectation from your side is just that you try the exercises on your own. That is what my expectation is. And once you try it on your own, supposing by the next class you are not able to complete it, you are getting some errors, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine with me. You can come up with those errors and you can show that, we can discuss it and we can just try to remove them, and then you will also learn, and probably from your mistakes I might also get something new, right? So as I told you, I am already having a 21 years of experience, but still at this age also I am learning. I am just as learning as you are here right now. So it is that we can learn from each other's experiences, right? So can I begin with the class with a small introduction today for Python, or for what is computing only? Just a simple introduction for what is computing, what is a programming language. Is it
Yes,
okay
ma'am.
with you if I start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just trying to share my screen. You will have to just wait for a few moments. So is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
We can see.
Okay. So I think
Ma'am,
all
I
of you know.
can't see your screen.
Pardon me, I could not hear you.
I can't see
Screen
your
is not visible.
screen.
How many of you
Ma'am,
are not able to see the screen?
Me, ma'am.
None of you are
I
able
have
to see?
I can see, ma'am.
For
Ma'am, can
those
you
who
reshare?
cannot see, just can you? Okay, I'll do that.
Yes, I can see the
Th-
screen.
Those who are not able to
Maybe
see,
they
just
can
exit
rejoin.
and come back.
Yeah, that would be
Then
better.
Yes, yes.
yeah, फिर दिखाई देगा.
Okay, so is my screen visible now?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let us wait for some time for 2-3 minutes so that other people who have just logged off can log in again. So let others join. So those who are there, what is computing? What do you understand by the word computing?
Maybe calculating.
Okay, maybe calculating. Calculating on what? On a calculator?
No, maybe processing data.
Processing data? That's what I'm asking. On what? Calculating is okay, but on what device?
Through Python. No?
Okay. Anybody else would like to add on?
Yes, ma'am. Computing means to count
Okay.
or to tally.
Yeah. So if I ask computing in terms of, say, computer science, then what does it amount to?
No idea, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Okay.
computing means doing the computation process on the data using computer
Yeah,
to get
yes.
to extract the information from that data.
Yes, correct. So when I'm talking of computing here, what I got as an answer was calculating, tallying, processing the data. That's correct. Computing means processing of the data. But I was looking for the answer, not a calculator. I'm not going to do data processing on a calculator. I can manage data on the calculator as well, isn't it? I would like to manage my data through computers. And we know that computers are now touching each and every corner. Even now we are having a meeting, all of you are sitting at your respective places, and we are connecting to each other using a computer or probably a phone through the internet. Yes. So computers are at every nook and corner of anything and everything. These days even we have doing shopping using computers. So it's a big domain, isn't it? So when I say programming, it becomes the foundation to this computing term, right? The computers can be used only if we write programs for it. Correct? If I have to use my laptop or my desktop or probably my mainframe computers, I will be needing a program. I will be needing some code. So programming is nothing but writing a sequence of instructions. For example, as somebody told me, ma'am, we would like to process data. So adding 5 and 3 is processing data. Correct. But we are not going to do it on the calculator. We are going to do it on the computer. So that is also programming. These are to do 5, add 5 and 3, I will have to write a set of instructions or code. Saving my document. When I say I want to save my document on the system, again, a sequence of instructions will be done, and that is how I will be able to save my document on the computer. Then, supposing I have to access the internet. All of you, we are all accessing the internet these days. We are surfing on it. We are using Facebook. We are using even the WhatsApp is there now on the laptops, and I hope all of you are using it, isn't it? What else ways you are using your computers?
For movies
For movies, yes.
or Excel sheets.
Excel sheets, correct. For typing in your Word documents. Now,
For designing.
yes, for designing, if you are using
For
Photoshop.
games,
For games, correct.
games
So,
also.
yes, there are n number of ways that a computer is being used. But then, have we ever thought about how are we able to see all those things on the computer? What is behind the scenes? Yes. For example, you say you are watching a movie. So movie is appearing on the theater screen or your computer screen. But how was that movie, created? What went to it? How did they make those scenes? How were the scenes sequenced? Have you ever thought about it? So similarly, when I say programming, I am trying to visualize what is happening behind the screen, right? So if I'm saying I have a computer and I'm using my computer to access the internet, I'm trying to access Amazon.in for my shopping, what is happening behind? So if you see here on the screen, please see that when I click on that Netscape, the Firefox button, when I double click on it, there is some code which detects my click. This code detects my click on the Firefox button. And then that will run a sequence of instructions. Some program will run. and then it will open the Firefox for me, right? It will open the Firefox for me. That target has been opened now. Now, on that, when I type in amazon.in or I type in flipkart.in, what do I get? Again, when I say that, a request is sent from my computer to the computers of Flipkart or Amazon, right? A request is sent. So how is that request sent? It is again a set of coding lines. So a request is sent to the Amazon server or the Amazon computer on the other end. The Amazon computer then takes our request and displays it on our web browser. So how do I connect to the Amazon computer? I am connecting it with the internet. Internet mein, all of you have modems in your house, routers in your house. So with that hardware device, I am connecting to the internet. Right? Now this request which I placed to amazon.in, I was looking for a product. I had put a search request. I said search for some grocery, and these days we are doing this only, isn't it? So that's a very good example, grocery. So we are looking for that grocery, and the reply then comes back. Code begins to send that file to the server. Then the monitor will get the receipt of the file, and then it is going to display the file on the screen. तो हमने amazon.in पे search किया grocery के लिए. Then what happened? The code was sent. That particular object, that was the grocery item that we were looking for, its price, its details, all of them, some code manipulated it, and it was took to that particular file, that particular product item file. There are thousands of items on Amazon. So this one is going to take us to that particular file. Okay. वही particular file जो हमने search करी है वो उसको ढूंढ के लाएगा, and then it will say yes, it is available to us, or it will show not available to us, and then that information comes back to my computer where it is displayed on the screen. So programming is there everywhere, right? Programming is there everywhere. Even when you are accessing the internet, it is there. But yes, when I'm accessing the internet, the programming will be of a different kind. When I'm accessing it, yes, I told you Python is also being used to access designing websites. So probably Python is working behind the scenes. There is a lot that is going behind when it is working, right? So it is not just, but for us as a layman, we can understand that there is some kind of programming which is happening behind the scenes that is taking us, connecting us together and bringing us back some information. So when I say programming is something which goes behind the scenes for a computer to work as it is working now. So I hope I have been able to make clear what is programming. If any one of you thinks that they have a doubt, you can please just unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, I'll move ahead. So now let us understand the programming vocabulary. For those who are aware of this, I told you will have to bear with me for some time so that the others can come just understand these things also. So now we are going to talk about programming. So what is programming? We have said code, we have said programs. What is this? So when I say code, a line of code is going to be generally a single command. For example, if I ask you to make a cup of tea, right? So, and I ask you to please write it down. How will you make a cup of tea? So you will write step number 1. Say if you have to make 2 cups of tea. you will say take 1.5 cup of water. Second, you will say add put this water into a vessel and then put it on the gas stove and let it boil, right? So this is going to be a second step. Then third is going to be add sugar. Fourth, add tea leaves. Fifth, bring it to boil. Then sixth, add milk, half a cup milk or 1 cup milk according to your requirement. So what is happening is I'm having a set of steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. So these steps, when I write it in a programming language, will become my program. And that single step is a code, right? That single step. That is why here I will not write a step here. I will write a command here, because we in computers will say it is a command, right? So you can always try and understand the concept of programs and code using that simple example of preparing a tea. That each step is a line of code, and that set of 7 steps that we have set is going to be my program. So a collection of lines of code is going to be a program, and it is going to do something for us. It is going to probably add 2 numbers. It is probably going to generate random numbers. It is probably going to help us calculate the average of 10 numbers. It is probably going to help us to find out the mileage of a car, right? So a program is going to be such a collection. This is what I call as the programming vocabulary. We'll try to familiarize ourselves with this first. Anybody has any questions till now? I hope I'm making myself clear.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Just wanted to see whether I'm right or not. I will
Okay.
just repeat the latest one which you said just now. अभी आपने कहा ना the steps to make tea.
Yes.
So the collection of steps are called programming, right, ma'am?
Right.
And each step is the code.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Why it is very important right now to understand these words: program, code, instructions, command, because when I start Python, I will be using those terms only. Then I will not be going back telling you that this is going to be something preparing the steps, or this is the way. If I take an example that it is a tea, so that at least once you start, you have a notion in your head that this is what is going to happen now. All right. So that is why I'm just trying to set the framework before starting the class. Okay. Now, if I have to run my program, I will need certain input and I will need a certain output. For example, let us again go back to the example of preparing the tea. So for preparing the tea, I will have the inputs: water, I will have sugar, I will have tea leaves, I have milk. These are all the 4 inputs. What is the output? Output is tea is prepared, right? So what are the instructions that are left? When you add those ingredients, adding ingredients step by step is your programming instructions. So now we have further divulged into more details. First, we understood that computers are everywhere. Then, second, what we analyzed was that programming is the one which is running those computers. Then when I talked of programming, the next thing that I wanted to understand was, what is this programming? How is it done? So I went into programs and the code. Now, once I understood what is a program, that program is a collection of these lines of code. Then, but how does this code work? How does this program run? It needs something to go, some data to be put in. We said program is going to process our data. So we need some data to go in and some data to come out. So every program which is written is defined by its relationship with its input and output. So input could be like, when you're typing on Notepad or the Word file or the Excel file, when you type in with your keyboard, that is the input that you are giving to the computer, right? And processing kya ho rahi hai piche, we are not aware, but as we type in, the output that we are getting is those alphabets are seen on the screen. Correct? We type in on the keyboard, our Word file is open. When we type in on the keyboard, what we find that those same alphabets are appearing on the monitor or my computer screen. So input was the typing in, output was those letters that have come out, and some processing happened inside the computer to recognize those letters, and after recognizing, the monitor also displayed it. So there were some lines of code that were running to taking care of this output. Now, so input is anything जिस पे program को काम करना है, any data, anything. It could be files. I have a file and I open it in Excel. So file becomes the input and the file is displayed on Excel. So that is my output. Websites also will take in some input and give out some output. Websites also, when we design, supposing I'm designing a website for saying the students, for the students to register themselves. I have designed a website where the students are supposed to register themselves and enroll themselves in a course, right? So website, then that website is being used by the institute to retrieve that data. So website becomes an input that way. There are many things, you know. Website itself is a programming we understood right now. कि website तो खुद मैम आपने अभी बोला कि मैम website तो जो है वो programming खुद एक program है. बिल्कुल सही बात है. Website programming ही है, but website किसी और program के लिए input भी बन सकती है. जैसे कि मैंने अभी बताया कि हमने हमारा MCA का प्रोग्राम चल रहा था, हमने अपने स्टूडेंट्स को बोला कि आप हमारे वेबसाइट पे रजिस्टर करिए, इस कोर्स में एनरोल करिए. अब इंस्टीट्यूट को वो डेटा उसके वेबसाइट पे पड़ा हुआ है. अब इंस्टीट्यूट का कोई अपना सॉफ्टवेयर चल रहा है, वो डेटा सारा वहां से इंस्टीट्यूट उठा लेता है. तो ऐसे वेबसाइट इनपुट भी बन सकता है. ठीक है? I hope I am clear in this. Website can become an input also. So when they become an input, I can get output in different forms. The videos that you are watching is an output. The files that are displayed, that are created. आप word file में एक letter type करते हैं. Right? Your letter is typed. So in the word file, that is an output. You are able to see the pictures, that is an output. You are able to hear sound, that is an output. Now we are using Google Meet. So Google Meet, what is it doing? It is a code. Some program is running in Google Meet. Input right now is my voice and my video, and this screen that I'm sharing is the input, and it is being displayed at your end. You're able to hear my voice, you're able to see my video. That is the output for your end. Now let us take it vice versa. When you are speaking to me, when you are switching on your video, So you become an input. I am able to hear your voice. So the sound becomes output to me, right? So there are a variety of combinations that can become input and output depending on what kind of scenario you are dealing with. Right? मेरा यहाँ पर camera on है. Google Meet is taken that input that the camera is on. So that is why my video is being displayed to all of you. Otherwise, my video will be blocked. So that video which is being displayed to you is the output. But what is the input here? That my webcam is on. So that is how it becomes an input. So camera is an input, video is an output. Again, when this session is going on, there is a recording which is going on. Correct? Now this recording is going to become your output. So input and output means something is going inside the programming set of instructions that we have given. That is my program. And the program is then processing that input and giving some output. That is what I mean by input and output. And I think this is relevant to all the scenarios which are, we can always categorize the scenarios, real-time scenarios. Each has an input, each has an output. So the input into some code is nothing, but it exists before the code is run, and output is the code produces as a result of running. So till now, let us summarize what we have done. We have said that computers are everywhere. First point, when we said computers are everywhere, we understood that to work on the computers, I will be needing some kind of programming. Without programming, nothing is going to happen on the computers, right? So when I say programming, then what? Again, what is programming? Programming is nothing, but it is a set of programs. And those set of programs are having lines of code. हर एक प्रोग्राम में एक एक इंस्ट्रक्शन है. If there are 10 programs, then every program is having, say, 100 lines of code, 200 lines of code. So that is what pertains to when I'm talking of the programming, right? Then programming से हम programs पे आए, programs and code पे आए. अब जब हमने coding की बात कर ली, तो अब program को कुछ data चाहिए होगा for processing. So that is my input. When it is processed, the data is processed and we get some output. That is my output. Output could be in any form. It could be in the video form. It could be in the files form, pictures, sound, action. It could be in any form. So when I click on the mouse, that is an input. And upon receiving that click of the mouse, what is the output? That the next screen comes. So when I click on the mouse, there is a set of instructions which are running and telling the monitor, go to the next screen. Clear? अब हमने प्रोग्राम की बात कर ली, हमने कोड की बात कर ली. We have talked of the input, we have talked of the output. Now, अब प्रोग्राम रन कर रहा है तभी तो आउटपुट आ रहा है ना. So when I'm talking of that running part, I am talking of compiling and executing. Should I wind up here or would you like to continue? Because our today's time is over. Anyone from the class?
Ma'am, you can continue, ma'am.
We started late, so we can continue up to 1 hour.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can continue.
Okay. So now when I'm talking of the next part, which is now running the program. So running, I will require two things. First is compiling, then executing. So when the compiling is like, I have to read the code and I have to see whether it is correct or not. Are there any errors that I forgot to add something, so it became an error. So it's like you have written an essay and now you are just going through it all over again and checking, have you missed out on any semicolon or a comma, or you have added an extra the, or you have added an extra an, or you have made some spelling mistakes. All those things you do when you write an essay before submitting it. So similarly, the same thing is done here also in the when we are writing programming code. When we are writing programs, we first compile it. Compiling means it will check all the syntax errors. It will find whatever the errors are there. Because when I'm talking of a language has its own rules. Every language will have its own rules. English has its own rules, Hindi has own rules, Sanskrit has own rules, German has own rules, French has own. Every language has its own set of rules. So even the computer programming language has its own set of rules. And those need to be followed, otherwise the program will not run. So when I do compiling, I am checking for that syntax. I am checking for those commas, those semicolons, the wrong spellings. I'm checking for all those things. But yes, this compiling, I don't have to do it on my own. The computer provides me with programs called compilers, right? I have the programs which are called compilers. These will take care of the things, right? Code has more strict syntax than an essay. So we rely on other computer programs which are called compilers to do this for us. So compilers will take care of this activity for us. So we don't need to think, oh, how will I do? How will I remember? Okay, I have to put a variable here. I have to put an integer here. This is going to be very tough. No, nothing is going to be tough. There are computer programs which are going to take care of it. They are just going to tell us, यहाँ पर आपने ये spelling mistake कर दिया है, तो वो आपको वो error दिखा देगा. जो मैंने आपको शुरू में बोला कि it's very important you make mistakes when you're learning a programming language. Because there you will just get hold of that language. The moment you are able to correct it on your own or with your help, with anybody's help, then the programming language is totally within your hands. So here they have taken care that we don't have to bother of all these things. Syntax errors ke liye, they have put in programs, compilers, which are there inbuilt inside the language. Again, you don't have to do something to get those compilers. They are there with the language. So they will take care of these error corrections. Then next step, once those errors have been corrected, now I can run them. So for example, I wrote a program where I could add two numbers, subtract, divide, multiply those two numbers which I entered. So now I run them and I check the output. Yes. Is the answer coming correct? Fine. That means my program is now run. So executing is running the program. Though what I've explained to you about compilers is a very, is a notion which is very, very abstract. On the highest level, compilers are very, very complex things, because what they do is actually they help. We are writing code in English language, correct? And if you see the computer as a device, how does the computer get the power? Through electrical signals. I'm trying to bridge in the gap between the running part, between the compiler, between the programming language that you are running and the hardware that we have. I'm trying to connect these two things now. Because once if you are learning a programming language, these concepts are very important. Though it is going to be a little bit tough, I will explain it again and again. I'll explain it again, but today I'm just giving you a gist of it. The programming language is written in English. If you see your computer as a device, it is working on electricity. Yes. And electricity we all know is what? Signals. तो English language और signals कहाँ पे match हो रहे हैं? Getting me? What I'm trying to say. Your program you have written in English language, and my computer is running on electricity. Electricity means some signals, some zeros and ones. My computer understands only this hardware which you see in front of you is understanding only zero and ones, nothing else. तो अब वो English जो language है और वो zeros and ones है वो matching कहाँ हो रही है? Who is doing it for us? The compiler. The compiler is the one which translates that code that you have written into the high level language into those zeros and ones, which computer actually understands. There are more things to this, but this is the most layman's way I could have explained it to you, that my program is in English language. Computer is a hardware device taking the power from the electricity power it is using to run, and if it is taking electricity power, anything which is inside is connected to that electricity. The batteries and the motherboard and the CPUs, all of them are using electricity. So electricity means signals. Signals means 0 and 1. तो अब 0 and 1 कंप्यूटर को समझ आ रहा है, लेकिन आप तो इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज लिख के दे रहे हो, वो कैसे समझ आएगा? वो कंपाइलर समझाता है. So compiler has a very big role, not only just proofreading, but this also. It translates the high level language into the language which computer understands, which is 0 and 1. So just as we have English to write our essays, or Japanese or Spanish or Mandarin, and there is a need of a language to write an essay, the same is true for programming also. I need a language to write. And as I told you, there are so many different written languages, so many different syntax, and we are learning out of that whole ocean of languages one language, which is Python. Why we are picking it up? Because these days the market for Python is very strong, and it is going to remain strong for quite in the forthcoming time also. So that is what we are supposed to take care of. Okay, then we are just about to finish now. The jargons are almost done now. We have come to what is a programming language. Now, when we are working, has any one of you seen this window which is there on the screen right now? Any one of you?
It shows on the vertical.
Okay, so I'll tell you how to see this screen. On your keyboards, there will be a Windows button where there is a Windows symbol. When you press that, I will have to, my screen will not be visible. So when Windows 10, what you get is type here to search. That task bar, Windows bar opens. Yes? Type there CMD. CMD. And you will see command prompt app. You will see a command prompt app. Just click onto it and see what comes. You will see a window very similar to what you are seeing on the screen.
Ma'am, your screen is frozen, I think, ma'am.
I am on the screen console versus GUI. Are you seeing that or something else?
We are seeing the presentation, your presentation in PowerPoint.
Yes, yes, I am on the presentation only. Which slide? I'm
We
asking.
can see only the first screen, ma'am. First slide.
First slide only.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ma'am, I can't see anything. Are you showing
It
some
goes to
slides?
command.
I'll just reshare my screen. I'm just stopping the presenting and just resharing the screen.
Okay, ma'am.
Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. But screen is same, ma'am.
Only first slide is showing.
Only first slide is showing.
Yes, ma'am. Only first
What
slide.
is computing? That's fine.
Oh my god. So you should have told me this
Yes,
earlier.
ma'am. Only first. Fine.
I don't know what has happened. So now is the screen off now? Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
It's off. And what do you see now?
Again, what is computing screen?
I don't know what is happening then because I am sharing all the screens. It is not taking you to any of the next slides?
No, ma'am.
From the start, we are only seeing first slide only.
Now second slide is showing, ma'am.
Now it is showing.
Second slide.
Introduction to programming. Yeah, programming vocabulary.
Okay. Okay, I am now just putting onto the slideshow. Just let me know whether the slides are visible or not. Is it visible now? Programming vocabulary?
Yes, ma'am.
And the next one?
No, ma'am.
Only the programming vocabulary is visible.
Oh, yes, yes.
Nothing else? Compiling and executing slide?
No. No, madam. No.
No. Okay, then I think this is the issue.
Now it's coming. Compiling and executing.
Okay, when I am putting it on the slideshow, it is not showing you. I had put it on the slideshow because otherwise it is not visible properly. Is this visible now?
Yes.
Okay. So I was talking of this console screen, console versus the graphical user interfaces. Right now, whatever we are working on is a graphical user interface. But there are certain command line interfaces like a terminal on a Mac or a command window on a PC. So that was what I was telling you. On your keyboard, there is a Windows symbol. It is just next to the control key, function key, and between the alt function and the alt key. Yes, from which when you just press it, the Windows menu opens for you, that same window. And on the bottom of that window, you see type here to search, which says, so there you type in CMD. And just press enter.
Yeah, command prompt is come.
Yes.
Yes.
So in that command prompt, you can change your directories. You can move from one directory to another. You can create directories over there. And you must be seeing something. C users. Has everybody been able to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that is what I'm trying to talk of. This is called the console.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So this is what I'm telling you is this is the console, and this console is used by many Python programmers to write their programs and run them over here. Right? But normally for working on these consoles, you have to be very, very strong in your programming, because there are going to be no graphics, there are going to be no layouts, there are going to be no mechanisms for having the key using the keyboard. So that is the reason we will not be using the console. But yes, programming in Python is also possible through these consoles. You can just type in exit and that will just take you out of that window. Or there is a cross, you can just cross it out. Right? So we are not going to use the console. We are going to work on a graphical user interface. And what do I mean by a graphical user interface? This is on the screen. Can you see now? The graphical user interface.
Yes,
so, right? So the output medium is in terms of some kind of buttons are there. So when I click on this button, some code runs behind and does this work, which I'm asking. For example, here you can see this is to change the patient. Some booking is happening for a patient, right? So all this is appointment is being done for a patient. Then we are tracking that patient. We're getting charged. So when I press onto these buttons, I am just checking out on a graphical user interface. And similarly, we also, when we're using Python, we will be using a graphical user interface. Again, GUIs and command lines, when I say command line, all of them are nothing but they are themselves programs. Now, I would like all of you to go to the website anaconda.org. I'm just typing in anaconda.org. Please go to any browser, Firefox, IE, Chrome, Google Chrome, and please type in anaconda.org over there. And then go to downloads. Depending on the kind of machine that you have. Okay, let me also continue with that only. I'll share my screen. I'm just trying to share my Firefox screen. So that we can start. Is this, what do you see right now on my screen?
We can see your Firefox screen.
Okay. So I'll type in just anaconda.org. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Ma'am, at the bottom there is a link of download.
No, this is
Bottom in the
for
footer. In the footer. Download Anaconda.
that is Anaconda Cloud actually. I am looking for the desktop version.
Okay.
This is I have registered here on this website. This is Anaconda Cloud. I am not looking for this because this will
Ma'am, on
not.
the top right, it's written as download Anaconda, ma'am. Top right, beside help.
I have it on my machine. Okay, so I have installed it on my machine, the latest version. So we can go to this individual edition, your data science toolkit. It says, see here also they are saying data science toolkit only. I'll click onto this download, and then it takes me to Windows, Macintosh, and Linux. So depending on whatever you have on your machine, please install this 64-bit graphic installer. So then I'll say save file. It is going to take some time depending on the bandwidth you have. And then you can run this exe file on your systems. So for today, this is the homework that you have. That please download Anaconda on your systems. And this is the...
Hello.
Yes.
I have already downloaded the Anaconda.
That's good. That's good. Has everyone done it?
Hutchinson has asked us in the
No, ma'am.
Okay, those who haven't done it, please, you can do it. We will not start it today. We'll start it from the next class.
Ma'am, when I was downloading and when I wrote Anaconda, it was showing Anaconda, and down it was showing Anaconda app. So I was confused.
Anaconda and R, it means that it will allow you to install R also as part of Anaconda.
Not
That's
R,
okay.
ma'am. Anaconda app.
Anaconda R. No, we are not looking for that. That is why I've just shown you from where to do that download. Please go to this particular website, anaconda.org, and there on the top right corner, you will see that option. I'll just go back again from where we started.
Yes, ma'am. Please repeat.
Yes, I'll just repeat that. Please go to the website anaconda.org. And here on the top right corner, please see download Anaconda. On the top right corner, when I'm clicking onto this, it is becoming, I'm just moving the mouse cursor on top of this, download Anaconda. So it opens a new page for me. And we have to install the individual edition. Simple clicks are there. You don't have to do anything else. Just simple clicks. Here, when you come down, there's a download option. Click onto that. And it'll take you, it will scroll you down to where the options are available. So it could be Windows if you have a Macintosh or a Linux, depending on that. I have Windows with me, so I will install. I'll click on this and it will start saving it for me. And where you can see your downloads. I am using Firefox, so my downloads are available right here on top right with the arrow. For Google Chrome, it will come down on this bar only. So I just go to that particular folder where Anaconda is being downloaded. I'll just double click onto it. When I double click onto it, it is going to start the loading process. Since I have already installed it, I will cancel it. I will not do the installation here. My installation has already been done. It's running. So I will not continue. I will just cancel. So for those who have done, they don't need to further continue with it.
Ma'am, it is asking add Anaconda to the system path environmental variable. Should I check it or not?
No, don't check that. When you check it, it will say not recommended.
Yes, ma'am, it is showing okay.
Please don't check it.
Ma'am, it is saying destination folder contains one space. This can cause problem with several Conda packages. Please consider removing the space.
Can you please share the screen?
Wait 1 second. Yeah, I'm getting this pop-up now.
It is not visible to me actually. The size is very small.
So 1 second. Okay, I have. Okay. Yeah, over here when I choose.
Do you have already created a folder for it?
Yeah, I thought no, it's an empty folder, man. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting this pop-up. It is saying the destination folder contains one space. This can cause problems with several Conda packages. Please consider removing the space.
Just say okay for it. So it is going to take you back to that browser. But I should not. I have also done the same thing. I have gone to the D drive. I have made a Python. I have made an Anaconda folder, and I have done the same thing.
Okay.
Can you just go back once again?
Yeah.
Just remove that software part. Only D.
Remove that space. Remove that space between Anaconda and software.
Okay. Okay. Okay, now I'm not getting it. Do we need to check on this, ma'am? Add Anaconda.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Install.
Okay. I think it's fine.
Ma'am, it is giving error. Failed to create menus.
Do you have any previous version of Anaconda installed on your machine? Can you
No,
stop
ma'am.
presenting? Can you please share your screen?
Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, it is. Did you make any changes? Any
No,
folders
ma'am.
or anything you made, or you are installing this in the C drive?
Ma'am, we didn't ask any drive. We didn't ask any drive.
Okay. What is the thing? Fail to
Menus.
create
Yes,
menus. Okay. Can you just retry once again?
Okay.
Ignore, but I think this will create a problem.
Yes, ma'am.
If it is, what you can do is abort this and then again download Anaconda and just can you check on the control panel whether this has got installed or not? You will have to remove this installation and then reinstall this if there is any Anaconda installed.
Anaconda is not installed.
Just wait for that. Has it uninstalled it completely? Can you go back to the other window? Say cancel. What is it showing? Nothing is
Setup
visible
was
to me.
not completed.
So just say cancel then. It might have a problem. Yours is what Windows? Windows which version?
Windows 7.
Windows?
7.
Windows 7. If it is 32-bit version or is it a 64-bit version?
64-bit.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is going to be.
Okay, ma'am. No. I'll try it again.
You will have to try it again.
Yes, ma'am. I'll ask in the next class.
सब रख ले तू बाद में देखेगा
वहाँ बात वहाँ जा रही है रिकॉर्डिंग वो मोटी और पतली और चाय ले ले और पकोड़े ले ले
All right. Anybody else has issues? Please mute your microphone. You are being heard. RS Entertainment, whosoever is that name. Okay. Anybody else has having a problem? I think
Hello, ma'am.
you should also. Yes.
Ma'am, I have previously installed Python using python.org, ma'am. Now, do I need to uninstall it and again install Anaconda, or let that be and
You can
again
let
install
that.
Anaconda?
You can have Python installed separately. You can also use Anaconda also. Because Anaconda we are going to use Jupyter notebooks. So it has a
So nothing
separate
to do with
kernel.
that.
Nothing to do with that. I have both on my machine.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Is it advisable to install in separate drive, madam, Anaconda? Is it and C drive is enough?
C drive is enough, but I always do it in another drive because that makes it more safe. My data is safe there, you know. If C drive crashes, it is there in D.
Okay.
I know that.
Yeah.
So it is always better to go for D drive.
Okay. I'll do that now. It's getting downloaded, madam. Now.
Okay. Ma'am, जिनको problem आ रहा था for those menus, please cross check. The Anaconda that we are downloading might be for Windows 10. So please look in for Windows 7 version for Anaconda also. Please try that also. Because I have installed it twice on Windows 10 only. I don't know who was the person who had asked me. I don't recall the name. So the lady who was just showing me that I am having problem with that menu.
Yes, ma'am. I was having problem.
Yes, ma'am. Please cross check that also. That Windows you are having Windows 7. So please check that Anaconda with Windows 7 download part. Because I think if you are having this problem first time, it might happen reoccur next time also.
Okay, ma'am. I'll try it.
Okay, so thank you so much, class. We have started with some jargons today. I hope I was able to make clear it to all of you. Though the slides got stuck and you told me so late.
Ma'am, when we our next class, which day and timing?
Same day, Friday, 3 to 5.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you all of you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Vandana ma'am, for sparing the time to the class. And I hope it was a great session for everyone.
I hope, because my slides got stuck and nobody told me. They told me in the end. So I hope I could make out what I was talking. Okay. I was not, not aware of it. And I think that was a problem because I went into the PowerPoint slideshow mode. So it was not displaying it there. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and hope you have a wonderful day ahead. And thank you so much, class. And I would request, as per the timeline that ma'am has given, ma'am, is there any learning material or more which they can, refer to so that they can have a more informative class for the next time?
Right now, I don't have any learning material with me. From the next class onwards, I'll be sharing it.
Perfect, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Vandana, ma'am, for your time.
Thank you.